This is Everything is Personal with Len May.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Everything is Personal. As always, my co-host, Mr. John Small. Welcome. Great seeing you.
Hey, everybody. It is a pleasure to be here.
Music to my ears.
Music to your ears. I'd like to come in with a nice harp. I'm really excited about this show. We got lots to talk about. We have a fantastic guest, so I don't want to hold anything up. Oh,
it keeps going.
It keeps going. I can't stop.
The music keeps going.
It's on a loop.
I'm so psyched to have my dear friend, Mr. Danny Hester, on the show. Welcome, Danny. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Even though I just want to give the audience a little bit of a taste, letting them know that Danny, and I'll give an intro, a little bit of an intro, but you can do a much better job introducing yourself than I can. But Danny is graciously joining us, just recovered from COVID. And I think he was mentioning to us prior to the show starting that yesterday was the first day he actually made it to the gym, got to work out. So just to give you a little bit of history and background, Danny's a friend. He's also a bodybuilder. He was Mr. Olympia. It was 2016, if I remember correctly. And you'll explain the whole thing about different types of Mr. Olympias and which one you were. But I am, not only is Danny a amazing bodybuilder, he's also a personal trainer, trains a lot of stars. And you can name drop if you want, or I can tell a couple of situations that we've had together where I got to meet some of the people that you train, which was really interesting. But thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Oh, you're welcome. It was very good for me to do. This is my first Zoom. I just actually downloaded it for this.
That is amazing. I love it. You are a Zoom version, to use a term. In this day and age, it's hard to find you guys. So I'm excited.
Everybody's on Zoom, and it's like, oh, and somebody doesn't know how to use it. It's cool.
I love it. And 9 months ago, nobody even knew what Zoom was. So there we go.
Now, what I use a lot, a lot of times, I get pulled into stories, on IG.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a Zoom in a way, and it's sometimes it catches me off guard because I'm not used to it, and then I'll just be watching some of my influencer friends' feeds, and then they'll see me pop up on there, and I'll touch something because it gets a request, and all of a sudden I'm in my bathroom or something. I get pulled into the.
You're live.
I'm in a live right now. What do I do with this live?
Like 6 million followers in the bathroom. I had no idea he's gonna pull me in.
That's hilarious.
So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself a little bit, but I just want to let the audience know, the ones that aren't seeing this in video. So Danny has a background of Danny actually pre-COVID, and then now you see Danny live, and there's a huge difference. Huge. So he's shredded, ready for competition in the background, and right now, like spaghetti arms. You can't even recognize him.
Yeah, he's a shrimp. It's like the before in that Atlas commercial where the kid gets bullied on the beach and then he goes and works out and he comes back and beats up the bully. I don't know if anybody knows those old comics. No, you're huge, dude. I don't think I've ever seen arms as big as yours in my entire life. So if COVID did anything to you, it's hard to see. But I would love to and apologize. I apologize, Len, but it's it's rare that you talk to somebody who's had COVID, or you don't meet a lot of people. You hear about a lot, but and I unfortunately had an unfortunate experience with a friend that got COVID. But Danny, do you mind sharing a little bit about kind of your experience with this virus and how it happened? Do you have any idea how you even got it, or?
Well, I'm pretty sure I got it at the gym, to be honest. I have access to so many facilities, some privates and stuff like that. People always invite me to. And there's a couple of them that I don't know how they stay open, to be honest, because they're functioning actually more capacity than actually before, I think, because they had so many new members because other gyms got closed down for whatever reasons, and they were able to stay open. I think it has a lot to do with the city, which areas and things like that. And some of them just don't care. They incur fines. One of my friends has a gym, and they shut off his electricity, and he just got a generator and started back up again. and he's going to
Can't
court.
keep him down, man. Can't keep him down. It's small business, man. It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, that's tough.
But the only problem with that's cool and all, but I actually had to stop going there because I was getting ready for a show. So for me, when I get ready for a show, there's not a lot of socializing, because a lot of times socializing is a big part of when I go to the gym too. I like to help influence people and talk to younger people coming up and everything. And, they want to take pictures of social media with me and all that. And I don't mind. I still get my workout in. It takes a little bit longer, but when I get ready for a show and dieting, I don't have a lot of energy. So I need to get in there and train hard and get out. And some of these gyms, like my friend's gym, he stayed open. And so a lot of gyms closed around the area. So he had a flood of people, like probably 4 times more than he normally would. And I would go in there and I just, like, a little voice told me, I said, this is not a good place to be. There's just way too many people. And the thing is that, a lot of the people aren't appreciative of just having a gym they can go to, and they'll sit around and talk and socialize. And it's like, get the heck out of here after you work out.
Yeah.
This is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I literally had to leave a couple times. That little voice in my head saying, this is not good. You shouldn't be around this. Not only because I couldn't concentrate because it was so crowded, but I knew, like, there's COVID going on, man. It's real.
Yeah,
You're like rolling the dice. And I have a feeling that's kind of probably where I got sick. Especially when you get really lean, your immune system is not as strong, and you're training really hard, so I was probably at a very vulnerable place as far as, even though you're healthy as far as physically, which actually contributed to a lot of the issues I could have had. I totally could tell if I wasn't in shape, even cardiovascular wise too, there definitely would have been a lot worse. It really would have.
So what were some of your symptoms that you had?
The one that really kind of freaked me out a little bit, and I tried not to pay attention to it, was like, I can only get half a breath.
Shortness of breath.
If you take a deep breath, it would burn. Like if you just did like a huge sprint up a hill or something, and how you're out of breath and it starts to burn like that. That's how it felt, just like trying to take a deep breath. And so I was only able to do half, and then towards the end of the breath, it burned. I was like, oh man. I try not to do that a lot because it freaked me out. You can almost feel like claustrophobic, especially when you're not used to that, And so I tried not to walk around as much, and I just try to really keep my heart rate down and rest. But that was the problem, is I was so tired. I had the chills and aches, and I was so tired. But the problem is I wasn't tired enough to sleep. I couldn't get a good sleep. It was, I think it was because my body had chills and I had a really bad headache. I had no appetite. So I was tired probably from that. But when it came down to trying to sleep, I couldn't get a good night's sleep. I would literally get up like 10 times a night.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how many like crappy Netflix movies I was forced to watch. I needed something to do, I think
exactly.
Series I would have never watched.
Right.
So.
Yeah, definitely all those Netflix and Hulu's and all those services really took off during the pandemic. Yeah,
I had Hulu, everything.
They just got to come up with better content, I think.
Yeah.
How long did your symptoms last, especially the breathing thing, which must have been really scary?
The breathing thing, I could tell the better I started feeling, the more lung capacity started coming back. And as a matter of fact, yesterday I didn't go to the gym. It was the first time to exercise. I didn't want to go to the gym. I just did some stairs at the college and walked and went around the track and did some push-ups and pull-ups, body weights, just to kind of get that connection back with my body. And it was almost like I was testing out the car after not driving for a while. And that the full capacity is still a little bit, I would say 20%. I still need to go where I could test. I was reading up because sometimes I'll get like a little dizzy. I think because I was exerting myself, just being bedridden for 3 weeks. Got a little dizzy. But I also have to be mindful because I was Googling and it says, even though you think you're done, a lot of times it has like a little tiny mini research with it. So I'm waiting for that part to clear. But all in all, that was the worst 3 weeks, man. That was terrible.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah.
And I missed the Olympia, obviously. That happened
Yeah.
like right before the Olympia.
Ugh.
And I was trying not to post that I wasn't going to go because I was hoping it would be done with so I can actually just go because it was in Florida this year. It was supposed to be in Vegas. And the last minute, Vegas put a restriction on gatherings of 250 per gathering. Yeah. And then the Florida had up to 2,500 to 3,000 per gathering. Right. What a difference. So the Olympia last minute had to cancel their contract at the Hard Rock Cafe where it was going to be held. It was a beautiful stage too, and they moved it to some convention center in Orlando last minute. So that was really tough on them, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that made it even more difficult as far as planning. And I was still planning to go. I told my wife, you know, you don't have to go because we usually enjoy it because it's in Vegas every year. They have a contract. Yeah. It's easier for people from all over the world, you know, to go to Vegas. And so this is the first year they didn't have it in Vegas in like 15 years.
Wow.
And so they moved it.
And you're a staple there. Like when you go there, people come find you and take pictures with you. Like,
oh yeah, no, it's that's the part is the Olympia is huge. I mean, over 100,000 people, you know, friends and family and fans from all over the world, and it's in the convention center. So there's a bunch of events before the competition and everything. You know, it's a big expo. All the nutrition companies, anything that has to do with fitness is there, and they couldn't have that this year. So it was basically just the competition.
Yeah.
And so that really, you know, took the biggest factor because I've been doing it for so long. It kind of really, honestly, I wasn't as bummed that I didn't do it because they didn't have that aspect of it anyways.
Yeah.
You know? And for me, I already won it once, so my health was the most important thing.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. You got a chance to recover. So
people go their whole career just making it to the Olympia stage.
Oh,
it's like in the NFL, if you make it to the Super Bowl, you don't have to win. You made it to the Super Bowl.
Right, you're there.
True.
You know, I actually won the thing. So for me, it's more important to just be healthy and, you know, and I finally posted it like maybe 4 days before the Olympia that I wasn't going to do it because due to COVID.
Yeah.
You know, which it was interesting. It almost felt weird, like I had to tell everyone I had the plague or something. It was a little, you know, it was just like a normal sickness. Oh, I have the flu or whatever. I couldn't make it. I apologize to my fans and stuff. My cat, by the way, trying to climb.
You see.
I'm a big cat person.
John has one too.
I have 2 cats, so yeah, they can talk.
Yeah, his name is Bo Kitty. He's a cool dude. We adopted him.
Yeah, it's really interesting because as you were saying, Danny, like people see this as the plague. It reminds me sort of like AIDS, right? Back in the day when people, oh my God, we got to stay away from these people that are we may contract AIDS from the air or something. So it's like the unknown scares people so much.
Yeah, and then you know, being supposedly the epitome of health and fitness too,
right?
And catching it, I felt like, geez, I don't know.
It just shows you it doesn't discriminate. Yeah. I mean,
even my younger brother, you know, he's in law enforcement, and he was very surprised. He's like, "Wow, I mean, you got it, and it was that bad." He's like, you know, he was surprised because guys, it really must hit people like differently, you know.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head, and today, like Dr. Hyman, who's an integrative medical professional, he was talking about, and I have another friend of mine who's a fitness guy who got it pretty bad too, with other people that didn't get the same symptoms. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of genetics that are involved, some of the genes that allow you to have a different experience than other people, but also it's the strain on your immune system as you're training, as you were saying, Danny, and you're a healthcare professional too. You have expertise. I'll let you intro yourself in a second, but I just wanted to point that out. And then the other thing is the inflammation. So when you're actually training, you're working out and you're creating and you're using supplements, all that, it increases your pH level. You get more inflamed, and that virus loves inflammation. It's sort of a pathway to it. So all those things are like a perfect storm.
Yeah, because your hormones are so it's like the analogy I could use is like, you know, a NASCAR. You're running at such a high performance where you monitor, you get your blood worked out. At least I do, you know. Mm-hmm. I contribute me. I'm also a registered nurse. So that background in fitness, especially in bodybuilding, because the bodybuilding world, it could be known for, over abusing anabolics and all this stuff just to temporarily, get a certain look, but you're basically aging yourself. And that's what these young guys don't understand. I'm still competing at the Olympia at 51 years old.
Wow.
You want to say that again? Let's pause on that. I just want people to realize. Wait, let me ask you, how old were you when you won Olympia?
When I won Olympia, the classic division, I was 47 years old, the oldest one.
Think about that, ladies
That's
and
incredible,
gentlemen.
man.
47 years
All
old.
the guys in the 20s and 30s, and there's a few in their 40s that look great still.
For sure.
But and that's the thing is, I tell people it's a lifestyle, and it's even harder for the young guys these days because of social media. They see how good people supposedly look. And then also there's so much information out there. It's too much information. Wow. When I was starting, my first competition was 1989. I didn't have the internet. I just went from like the OGs in the gym, the old school guys, and just learned basic stuff from them. There was not this medical knowledge out there. It's pretty crazy, and I also have a medical background. So I know like these kids are just getting their hands on so many pharmaceuticals and they think that it makes them look great. But I'm like, you're probably aging yourself 20 years. In 5 years, your body's not going to respond. It might look good now for a pool party or whatever you're trying to do, but you're blowing it. What happens is the body takes time, especially in bodybuilding. That's why I love it, because it's a pursuit of a certain look that takes a long time to obtain, because you don't grow genetically even. Like your legs, you could do something just very little and it'd get big, but the rest of your body takes a long time. It's a lot harder. So people have genetic, areas that are really strong. I know some guys that have love handles, but they have like an 8-pack in the front. Just where they carry things, just genetically. And so when you're trying to sculpt a very balanced, as far as what I think ideal is, a very balanced, small waist, arms, everything's got to be very proportionate. It doesn't grow evenly. So it takes a lot longer to get there. Like your legs might overpower your upper body or vice versa. Your chest might be huge, but your shoulders aren't growing. And if you just keep doing what you're doing, your chest is going to get even bigger and your shoulders, and you're going to look very unproportionate. And that's how I'm able to beat a lot of the bigger guys, because of my balance. And very important. It's not about how much I weigh, the size. If someone says, I'm going to give you 20-inch arms, I say, I won't take it unless the rest is balanced with it. Because it's all an illusion up there. And for me, it's about the beauty and aesthetics of it. It's art. And a lot of guys don't realize, they think they can get it fast, but genetically, you don't grow evenly. No matter what anabolics you take to make you grow, you're still going to have to deal with your genetic factor of things take longer. Like your arms might take another 5 years to be the size you want it to be, but then you're blowing everything else up. So now your arms are where you want it, but everything else is so big, your arms still look small. So you have to, it's better to do it more naturally with less anabolics, which is healthier, but it also is able to have you gauge your progress, And that's key to longevity. I always say, if I can't beat them, I'll outlast them. And I've done that for 3 decades of athletes, top athletes.
But yeah, I mean, that's an amazing story. And also like a little bit about us meeting, it has to do with cannabis. And, this is another thing that I want people to understand, people who are really, really physically looking after themselves, and this whole stigma about, cannabis makes you lazy, all that stuff. That's a bunch of bullshit. And you're a testament to that, because you're one of the hardest working guys that I know. You're working out sometimes twice a day in the gym, all the cardio that you do. But as a cannabis user, there's a certain intention of why to use that. So like my story is like when Danny and I met, I don't know how many years ago, it was 4 or 5, whatever many years ago. But one of the things that we talked about is recovery. So I actually came up with a product, I called it Recovery, that will help bodybuilder people who are working out to recover. And cannabis is a major ingredient, CBD, THC, and
And you say that to me years ago. That's so ahead of its time too.
Thank you, man.
Even the packaging still holds up today as far as the branding.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So when Danny also trains celebrities, and we had if you want me to not mention names, I won't.
Drop them.
All right. So it's just a funny story, really quick, and I'll go into questions. I want to respect your time as well. So the one time we had this, my friends had this house. They called MCO. It was like sort of a private cannabis club, and you go to a house in the hills. And then what Danny was going to do, he was going to be the trainer there because they had a gym, and we were going to bring in people who would get a membership, and then he was going to personally train them, and maybe even put some people there that would train under him. And one time he brought his client, Mr. Mickey Rourke, over to the house. So first of all, Danny's calling me. He's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm in the house." He's like, "No, we're in the house. I don't see you." I'm like, I walk out in the balcony, and Danny's walking down the street. Mickey went to the wrong house. He was in the house next door.
You know what's even funny about that story? Yeah, he used the bathroom in that house too.
He did.
He dropped
Number two.
he dropped the deuce, and
like somebody's like, "You're not going to believe this, but Mickey Rourke just came to my house and took a number 2 in my bathroom." Somebody has that story.
Flooded the toilet. That would've been
Oh my God, that was the funniest. So finally, like, Mickey comes in, and he was he's a great storyteller. So then he started telling all these stories about his own, situations and his own experience with cannabis and other things, and how he had a place in New York and he would get people together. But then he was telling about he's a boxer. He's an avid boxer. And at that time, if I remember correctly, you can drop in and tell me if I'm wrong, but he was signing on to fight somebody. He was, how old was he? 63, I think, at the time.
Mickey's about 10 years older than me. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. He was up there in age, and he was fighting a guy that was 30 years younger than him in Germany. And then I was like, are you sure you want to do this? So he's standing there, and I wish I could describe the visual because I'll never forget it. And he's standing there, and I'm standing next to him. And I was asking him, he's like, "No, I have a plan." And he starts like sort of, I'm gonna jab, and then he's got these big hands, and he goes open hand. He goes, and then I'm gonna hit him give him like a kidney shot. And with his open hand, he got me. And I was like, "Oh man,
that hurt."
So it hurt. I mean, it wasn't closed fist; it was an open hand. But he showed how he was gonna win.
It would have hurt more if he wasn't sober. You might have been laid up for a while.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it, man.
I used to write. Yeah, that's great. I used to write for Maxim, and one time I was interviewing Mickey Rourke for a story, and he told me some crazy story, and I was like, "This is incredible." I was like, "Is this even real?" Like, and then I was like, writing it all down, and then he hangs up the phone, and about 10 minutes later, phone rings again. "Yeah, it's Mickey. You can't use any of it. You can't. He's like, "Nothing I told you can use." He's like, "That would get me in prison." And I was like, "Oh man." So I can't even share that story with you guys online.
He's got stories, man.
He's got good stories.
Amazing stories. What a life.
Yeah.
And then another one was Wesley Snipes, who's now like coming to America. He's going to be in the new Coming to America. But that was an interesting story. The only part of that story that I'm going to tell, and you can fill in the blanks anywhere, was when Wesley Snipes came in. Like, I'm a big fan of New Jack City. That was my movie back in the day. He came in wearing like a white sweatsuit with a Kangol hat. I was like, man, rockabye baby. That was the best when I saw him looking at that. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was great, man. So yeah, Danny trains a lot of these people.
So it's interesting that,
and Wesley's a big cannabis guy too.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything. That's why I was asking. We've had some experiences there. And Mickey actually took the recovery formula that I made, and he was like, "You sure I'm going to get high? You sure I'm not going to get paranoid?" I'm like, "No, I got it." And he was cool.
Wow.
The recovery. But wanted to, just, we have 3 questions that we usually ask our guests. So I want to jump in the questions, and then have you give an opportunity to say anything else that you want to say about like your practice and what you're doing and everything else. But the first question that I had was, please describe your first experience with cannabis, if you remember.
I would have to say when I was, 13 or 14, and we had a friend that was older, and we were, I believe, in my backyard, and there was a can, and the first time I saw someone make a little hole in the can, and he had some, and he was trying it, and he let me try it, and I was like, whoa, okay, let's see what this stuff is all about. And it didn't, with my body chemistry at the time, I didn't like it. You know, I think I wasn't prepared mentally for it. You know, I had no idea. And I wasn't a big advocate for any type of how would you say, whether it was alcohol or anything when I was a kid. It was just didn't interest me. I was always an athlete. I was a gymnast since I was 6, you know, and it wasn't that I had a moral thing about it, because I had a lot of friends even back then that smoked weed, and they were incredible athletes. It used to really blow me away. You know, because I was always in the impression of like, be as fit as possible. Don't give up any edge. So you don't want to drink alcohol. You want to eat perfect. You want to train. You want to sleep. And anything that goes into that, that's not going to really help with that, is a deterrent that will make you slip in whatever you're trying to do as far as excelling to be the best. You know, because I was very competitive. And so that was just my mindset with it, where a lot of other people had a moral issue with it, whether it was drinking or whatever, which was so stupid, because when you're in high school, even now, I mean, even the way they make movies, everyone drinks, everyone smokes weed. And it's like, how are they still having that stigma over freaking from the 70s of making all these great movies, Animal House, and just so many cool movies that are, you know, iconic, that have kids underage drinking and smoking weed. And it's like they make it a moral thing. It's just so weird. It's just part of the culture. And it, of course, like anything else, if you abuse it, you're an idiot. You know, it's just like food or anything else. And so with me, I've never had a moral issue with it. I even seen, and then especially when I came to LA and started training very high profile people, whether it was, you know, pro athletes, NFL guys, NBA guys, MLB, you know, the Major League Baseball, and attorneys and surgeons, and they all smoked weed, and, you know, they would have a glass of wine or something also once in a while. And it was like, wow, these are very high functioning people, you know? And so I knew right away that it could be used for a tool, and that's what people don't realize. It's either like bad, immoral, you know, destructive, but people don't realize it actually is beneficial. And then especially now, you know, that we know stress is the number one killer of everything, heart disease. I mean, just so much that if you can control different things to really help you function better and perform better in moderation, just like that's my whole philosophy, even with the anabolics in my sport, because it definitely is very much abused. But people have to realize it should not make you. That's not what how would you say, what you are. Some people need cocaine or Adderall or this and that to get through a meeting, to do well, to perform. But if you can't do it on your own and you have to have it or you're not the same, well, then that's a crutch. You know, that's the thing is with anything, you have to be able to know how to utilize it to suit you best, you know, so in so many things, because it actually acts the opposite. I used to do so many seminars all over the world and stuff, and I'd be tired sometimes and my brain would be in it. So I would do some Adderall, and it was great. But at a certain point, I felt like, oh, 10 milligrams is good. What about 20 milligrams? And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting there just speaking nonsense at these seminars, going on about nothing, because it was too much for me. And I realized that. I said, oh, this is not good. This is doing the opposite. So, you know, there's always that factor where you have to know yourself and try to get the best out of it, whether it's cannabis or alcohol or anything. And that's really what life is about, you know, just the obsession. Even the fitness thing is not that necessarily good. I would never get that lean just to be lean if it wasn't for the competition, because that's pretty extreme, and that's actually not healthy, It's probably one of the reasons, honestly, I got the COVID, because when you're that lean and you're working your body that hard, your immune system's very, very low. Very low. So,
cool.
That's the thing.
So your first experience wasn't the best experience, though. You had
it wasn't. I didn't know what to expect from it, honestly, too. And I think that has a lot to do with it. This is like some of my friends now are they're going to these clinics overseas and like in Colombia and some of these places to do the ayahuasca and all that stuff. Actually, Dorian Yates, a 5-time Mr. Olympia, actually has his own clinic, I believe, in somewhere in Colombia, and it's with the indigenous people that actually do it, and they guide you through it and everything, and it's supposed to really help with addictions and just emotional things, almost like a purge. Sure. And I've heard a lot of really good things about that. And so I think if it would have been in different environment and not in the backyard sneaking and not sure what it does, I might have had a better experience with it, And that's the problem is the way the culture is, and it's so changing very fast now. Which is a good thing because it's so beneficial. People don't realize. And I've always told people, would you rather have your girlfriend, your sister, your wife in a room full of drunk guys or a room full of stoned guys?
Yeah. Right.
Great question.
It's a good question.
They probably want them to bake them something or make them some food. Where the drunk guys, where the drunk guys is be a different story. So
right on.
I know
for sure. So second question, we're music guys, John and I. And I know you are as well. So I wanted to know if there's a song or an album. What's your go-to even if you're consuming cannabis or just in general? What's that go-to song, music, album, or genre that you kind of gravitate towards? Besides your wife.
Yeah, no, my wife's a recording artist. Beautiful music. She actually does some live performance on stage with me when I.
What's your wife's name? We got to give her a plug here.
Monique Maffei.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a badass. So just I just wanted to chime in. So when Danny does his posing and all that, Monique sings sometimes to that.
Cool.
They have this coordinated routine, which is awesome. So.
Yeah, because I would usually, I get hired to go to do guest posing because I'm known for my posing, just very artistic, like old school poses rather than just like, modern day where they lost it and it was just about the muscle and they would be hit shots like that. For me, it was about like mimicking the Greek statues and the movement and the drama of it, just in the hand positions and stuff, and just the flow. And so I was known for that in my competitions too, which helped me win. And so I got requests from like smaller shows, national level shows and different shows all over the world. They would, for the intermission, they would hire me to do the guest posing, and I would have music and the lights and very dramatic. And one time, I performed in Alaska. My wife went with me, and I needed the music, and I didn't have it with me that I was going to use that she made for me, that she actually sung and composed, and I was going to use that. And I said, I was practicing in the mirror at the hotel the night before, and I said, hey, can you sing that part? And so she started singing it, and I was practicing, and I said, wow, why don't you just come on stage with me and do it live? We did that, and it blew people away the first time. And there's guys who were like, 6'3", 270-pound big bodybuilder guys in the audience. We came out from backstage after performing. They had like tears in their eyes. They were like, that was the most beautiful thing we've ever seen, because it was like live performance. Yep. To have her actually singing live as I'm posing, and it's like we're kind of like playing off each other, and it's never been done before. So that was and I was only able to do that because I won the Olympias to make that request to have her on there. Because a lot of times when we would travel to India, China, wherever, they don't really know what she's about to do because they've never seen it. They just wanted me to do the guest posing. And then so when she does sound checks and stuff, it's always terrible because they don't know that she's actually going to be up there. And it's different to just cue the music, that's on a whatever, tape or rather than having her cue the sound and everything for her here and to actually sing. And a lot of times they don't do that great of a job. But after we're finished performing, they were like, oh, we didn't know that's what you want to do. Even though she would tell them that's what she was going to do until we actually did. Then they understood, you know, but it's a pretty cool thing to, and then when they find out we're married, it's, you know, it just adds a whole nother element of just that, like that completeness, you know, of like, wow, you guys are married to, you did this and you're traveling. It's almost
a very
like
unique experience.
Combining her passion with my passion together.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a beautiful thing. So one more question. What has cannabis meant in your life?
I think it's, like I said, it's you know, with the CBDs, it's a big part of just the recovery, and in what I do, the recovery is so important. It's everything. It's actually more important than the training aspect of it, especially when you get older. You know, being an older athlete and still trying to really heal, and the inflammation and everything that goes, you know, against you. Basically, you're fighting the training and father time. You know.
By the way, your cat agrees with everything you're saying right now.
Oh yeah.
She's like, ow, recovery.
Yeah, exactly.
Recovery.
That cat is so smart. I have to lock the doors like when I'm in the bathroom, because he goes and opens the door on you and he sticks his head in. It's amazing. He's like a dog.
Yeah.
That is funny.
I like the dog cats.
I have one more bonus question, and then we'll let you run. And you can tell people where, you know, people can find you and everything. If you remember, describe what your room looked like growing up.
My room, obviously, you know, kid, and had brothers.
Yeah.
It's always messy.
Where was it? Where did you grow up, Danny?
I grew up in Ventura, California, right by close to the beach. Ventura's a beach town between Santa Barbara and Malibu. Yeah. And that was, I really appreciated growing up there, because Ventura was a very interesting place, because it was very eclectic of the type of friends I had, because you have like migrant field workers, right? A lot of Mexican migrant field workers, because there's so many farmlands and strawberries and lemons and everything out there when I was growing up. And so there was always, like, you know, first and second generation Latin kids that I went to school with, right? And they were like into lowriders and you know, stuff like that. And me being of mixed ethnicities, it was real. I could fit into a lot of different things. They didn't know what I really was, and so we had the lowriders, and by the beach we had all the surfer kids and stuff like that. So we had like that surf culture, and a lot of and especially that surf culture where I grew up, it was very territorial at the time. So there's some badass surfers that can fight too, and they love fighting. And stuff you know, they weren't just, you know, little
boys, beach boys. Yeah,
exactly. They're pretty hardcore guys. And then we had Ojai, which is the mountains with the ranches and everything like that. And we were actually, our chapter, actually Ventura chapter for the Hells Angels was one of the strongest in the state. And George Christie he's known. He actually had the Hells Angels, and he's, you know, I grew up with his son and everything, and I used to train all the Hells Angels guys in their compound. And when I got older, so I grew up with those guys. And the cool thing is that growing up, we had the Hells Angels, all the kids, the Hells Angels and bikers and stuff, with the lowriders and the surfers, and we all got along when we would party as kids. And it was such an eclectic mix of people, and it was almost like even the clothing and the music, and it all blended together because we all hung out together. You know, we grew up together, so it was a very interesting, you know, vibe. And I think when I came to LA, a lot of people kind of felt that, because Huntington Beach was starting to be a little bit like that in LA, you know, with the skateboarders and stuff. So it was like my style and everything already kind of fit in there, thrown in with the bodybuilding, you know, when I came to Venice, because I started training at Gold's Venice. My first gym membership was in 1989. And so I've had a VIP membership there ever since, which is very blessed. You know,
what motivated you to actually start body? I know working out, like you just want to get in good shape.
Well, getting back to my room. Like my brother was very smart. You know, he's into like biochemistry and physics. He's also a professor right now, and you know, he would have like Mr. Spock and Einstein posters in his room.
Right. Cool.
And and the posters I would have would be like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I had that.
Posters. And then when I got older and I started lifting more and my body got a little bit thicker, I remember putting up Arnold's poster up.
That's it.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was cool, you know. So it was kind of a mixture of both, because fighting was, you know, I'm part Thai. So
Right.
I grew up doing Muay Thai since I was like real small kid.
Right.
And we did it for real then, you know, with the knees and everything, real Thai Muay Thai style.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, then I wrestled in high school and college, and, you know, martial arts and everything. So I was always into individual sports. I didn't like team sports so much.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like if you won and you sat on your ass, you still won, but you didn't really win. Or if you lost, but you were the best, you still lost because of the team. Right. So I really like the ownership of like directly what I did, you know, could be a result of my hard work and my talent and everything. So I was a gymnast, martial artist, you know, bodybuilding,
right,
all the different breakdancing. I was one of the best breakdancers in the world.
John and I were talking about it. I was Northeast Circuit Breakers. What were you, John?
I was in the Chill Factor, but I'm not a real breakdancer. I'm just a popper. I can.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was able to do all three. There's breakdancing, there's popping, and there's the locking.
Yep.
And I was actually really good at all three of them, like the best.
Wow.
I used to battle whole groups by myself, and my brother would hold my jacket, because, you know, you had like a crew and they would specialize in certain moves and
certain things.
Battle. Yeah. I literally, because of my martial arts and gymnastics background, I was dominating. Right. The only thing I would get tired, I would look at my brother after someone did like head spins and back flips and run off the walls. I was like, I can do that, but I just freaking did like all kinds of windmills and stuff. Again, God, that just went, they sent out before me. I was like, okay, here I go. And that was very interesting, because it was a little bit like fighting, because it's very physical. And if you mess up, you just don't mess up. You can actually get really hurt.
Sure. Yeah. By the way, big up to breakdancing. They're making it an Olympic sport.
I know. Yes.
That's awesome. Isn't that amazing? I know. It's amazing.
But it should be. It's right. Almost a combination of gymnastics with right. dance and martial arts. It really is a bunch of
super physical. Yeah, for sure. They have Olympic sports there.
The score too. You know, when you look at it.
Of course.
But I had a manager. I would perform like grand openings of restaurants. I was on Soul Train, American Bandstand. I helped choreograph the 1984 opening ceremonies of the Olympics, 84 Olympics, when it was in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I got to meet Dick Clark on American Bandstand with the original set. With the tiles.
So he's the real deal, man. I was just like a poser. I was just a poser. Although I did grow up in New York, so at least I was in the right.
Yeah,
place.
Well, New York is where it started.
That's where it all started, but I can't say that I was a pioneer in the.
And in the New York, we used to actually. My manager, I had a manager at the time too. The thing is, we used to study them, and when it just first started coming to the West Coast, that was luckily my generation, because in New York they were doing it probably about 4 or 5 years before.
Yeah,
mostly with the pop locking and just basic breakdancing. But when it came to the breakdancing, it came to California, we took it to a whole other level of like power moves like that. And I was part of the guys at the forefront. I would explain, because, you know, I good friends, and I trained the Jabberwockies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are good friends of mine. And I remember telling them the history of it, because they're much younger than me. And when I would train the guys in Vegas, because that's where they perform, keep them in shape, I would explain some of the movements, like, you know, the one hand where you spin on one hand up top, and that was called the 99, you know?
Yeah.
Why do they call it the 99? Is because that was back in the early 80s, and 1999 was basically the, you know, Y2K.
The future. It's the future.
And they still call the 99 to this day, and I was to explain, they're like, oh, that makes sense.
This is the future of
I told them, like, you know, when they would go like just on one hand and they would throw their legs over and just hold it in midair, and then they come back down, movements like that. We took that from the skateboarders. They would go off the lip and they would hold it with one hand with the board, and they go back down.
That's right. Hold the board and come back. Yeah.
and that's, you know, mimicking that movement. Just so many things, the history of it and stuff, you know, is
We love it, man.
really cool. And I always thought,
Yeah,
man,
John and I,
stop bodybuilding and trim down. I want to see if like I could still do a lot of that stuff, you know. I know I
can
could
do
still
it, man. You still got the moves. You can still do it. Yeah,
but,
John and I are old school hip hop guys, so we talk about that, like all that generation. We actually talked about the best breakdance movies. Like for me, it was Beat Street that changed everything for me. And I used to dress like that, walk around with my Adidas sweats and the shell tops, all that. So
yeah, that was good times. And you know, the thing is that I got so advanced, and then it took a little bit longer for like the commercial world to basically what I say, like the urban like housewives, you know, with the picket fence and they had their kids, started getting into it. They were booking the commercials, and it wasn't the advanced guys, and that's when it basically for the advanced guys it really died down.
right,
Yeah.
It was so watered down, you know, when they're all getting excited over like stuff Michael Jackson, you know, in some of the videos like 5 backspins, and people are like, oh man, that was amazing. I'm like, okay,
Like,
I
you
think
don't
it's
know.
because they don't really care for like the levels of it anymore. It's more just kind of saturated, and I think that's when it started losing it. But to see it come back, especially years ago when I was in watching in like Asia, Japan, Korea, and all that. Wow.
Yeah, they are.
Talking about these guys mimic like the best level, highest level, even
And
the
they're purists.
everything.
They have the world championship now. I was watching online. It's amazing.
They were amazing. I was like, whoa, they're not only just copying it, but they're copying it at the highest level, even like the little, like
they study
little things. Yeah. Like perfect form. Cause I used to watch people, you know, even like cause all those guys, Beat Street, you know, Boogaloo Shrimp and all that stuff. Even my neighbors, Anthony Thomas was one of the best in the world. Actually, that's a lot where I got a lot of my exposure because he was one of the best in the world. He was partners with Bruno, which was in Beat Street. You know, Bruno that he used to like be one of like he would hit from his chest. It was just like so powerful. His movements were so crisp and everything. And Anthony was his dance partner. And Anthony actually did all the Janet Jackson videos. He was choreographing for all that stuff, the Control album, everything. So I was able to kind of ride with him because I was really good at what I did. He would bring me in and introduce me, and that's how I got a lot of work and stuff. So I've always been performing at a really high level, even now taking it into the bodybuilding world. I think that's where I feel comfortable, you know, performing. But yeah, with the room thing, it was definitely Bruce Lee and Arnold, you know.
That's awesome, man. Danny, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell everybody where people can find you or get some information about you? If they want to engage with you, what would be some of the places they can find you?
Instagram, IG is Danny Hester. Yeah. First classic Mr. Olympia.
Brother,
Sweet.
So good to see you. I'm so glad that you're healthy. I can't wait for this to all go away. We got to get together, man.
Yeah.
So,
no, most definitely. It's almost like a cleansing to a certain degree, you know. 100 years ago we had this, you know, and it came back. Obviously it could have been worse. It definitely could have been worse. I really think it could have, even though there's a lot of deaths and stuff like that, which is tragic. But that virus could have been much worse.
For sure.
Can you imagine if it was more like bubonic plague and it was spread like easier?
Yeah, and to younger people, and there's been many. Yeah, it's been in some ways it's not as bad as it could be, and it was still horrible.
For sure.
And this is honestly this is like a little reality check for the world, because another one will come and it will be worse. So in a way, we're kind of blessed to be able to limit it to as much as we have, you know, and caught us off guard. Yeah. But it definitely is going to change a lot of things.
It's a practice run. Get better.
Sure. Yeah, especially for athletes, and it'll hopefully change the healthcare system, because you know, people that really got hit hard were obviously the minorities and very poor people. You know, they don't have to get well and all that stuff. Now, I actually fell one night in the kitchen getting a drink of water. I passed out.
Wow.
And I dented my head I dented the dishwasher. My wife got up. It freaked her out because it made so much noise. And I remember her saying, "Hey, Danny, are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm looking up at her, and I'm like, "Why are you screaming?" I thought I was on the couch.
Wow.
It was the craziest, scariest thing in the world. And she's like, "Do you want me to take you to the emergency?" And I'm thinking, no, because you can't have any visitors if you have COVID, and it's like restricted. And I would rather, I hate to say, I would rather die on my couch with a big screen TV and Netflix than be in a freaking hospital room. You know, I didn't want to
I feel you on that.
else really that needed it could have had it too, you know, more than me. And I think it's just safer to be at home. So, especially when you have a wife that's awesome, that just, I mean, she really took care of me.
Well, it's a great message, man. Love you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Say hello to your wife, and let's get together really soon.
No,
Thanks
definitely. The next Zoom, I'll take some Adderall and be even better.
All right, let's do it, man.
Little Adderall
Thanks,
and
brother.
cannabis. Good to meet you, Danny.
All right.
Take
care.
Peace.
There you go. Take care.
Awesome, man. He's flexing.
Yeah.
God damn. I need to work out.
Yeah.
Well, what you do, you guys definitely make sure, if anything, keep your posture.
There you go.
Yep.
The
Thanks.
shoulders back. Just always
it.
squeeze your shoulder blades
Don't
together.
slouch. Don't slouch.
That's it. Simple.
Yeah. We both sat up right away.
Yes.
It adds up
Exactly.
every day, all the time. Your head's heavy, you know?
Yeah.
And especially Len's head. He's got a big brain, so you gotta make sure you put that sucker back.
I just have a big head.
I just thought he had a big head. Yeah, I was gonna say he just got a big head.
Or unless
That's
you got
exactly it.
your ear sets on.
Yeah. All right, brother. Thanks, man.
All right, man.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
All the
Peace.
So
best.
much for having me. Take care. Bye.
All right, brother.
Bye.
Oh, look at him. He just disappeared off the screen. Yeah, you can just how do I
You just hang it up.
there he goes. Well, that was interesting. Wow,
That was
again,
interesting, right?
yet another guy that you know.
Dude, there were
Like,
so
oh,
many
he's just a Mr.
stories.
Olympia.
There are so many, like, I have so many stories with Danny. It's so much fun. Like, I can go deeper into the Wesley Snipes story. We'll leave it for another show, but remind me to tell you a little bit more about Mickey and some of the other people that he introduced me to. It's like, it's a trip. But yeah, man, I'm so glad he's feeling better.
Yeah.
I had
It's
my own
amazing.
health.
Somebody with that in that kind of physical shape
It's
could get COVID.
I actually,
right?
This is the third person who is like the most incredible shape. I mean, Danny is obviously Mr. Olympia, but I had other people that are, I mean, ripped, 6-pack, limited body fat, and they got sick at the same time that my other friend got sick, and my other friend had minimal symptoms, and this guy had 2 weeks of symptoms very similar to what Danny's describing. So a lot of those things do have, genetic factors, but I definitely believe the stress on your immune system and the acidity that you create based on that inflammation.
Yeah.
That's an attractor of this.
This is why I think I'm just going to stay fat and happy because I hit the gym and then you get COVID.
Did you see Danny's arms, man? Holy shit.
My God. If anybody has a chance to
I was
watch
gonna
this
say,
YouTube
hey, man,
video,
I've been working out.
I know. I didn't even want to I wanted to just put a burqa on. I was embarrassed for him to see anything. And he immediately saw my posture and was like, sit up straight.
He stood up straight. But yeah, so I had my own health scare. And Danny was talking about
yeah, tell us about it.
denting the dishwasher with his head. So I never go to the doctor, and my parents talked me into getting a physical. So I joined Parsley Health, which is like integrative medical practice. And I went, and the doctor checked me out, and everything's good. Like I'm operating as an athlete. My heart rate is good. My blood pressure is good. Everything is good. There's two things about me. My body temperature runs low, even though I'm always hot. But my body temperature, like when they shoot you between the eyes with the temperature gun, when you go to places, they always look double, like, whoa, you're running low. Like 97 97.1 or something like that. But I run my body temperature 96. I run really low. And then the other thing, my blood pressure is low. Like my resting heart rate is low. So unless I'm exercising. So, all right. I told the doctor, like, last time I had a blood test 7-8 years ago, when I got up, I started seeing stars. Like everything kind of went dark, and I had to sit back down. They had to give me juice. So I have this experience. I told her, and she's like, well, you can get hypnotized for that. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll go get hypnotized. I didn't do that this time. So I thought she put in my notes, I went to the clinic, sat down on this chair, kind of had my legs up a little bit, and was sitting on this lounge kind of chair. And I did everything everybody told me. Look the other way. I had my arm this way, and she started the procedure. So she's talking to me while she's doing it. So I'm having a conversation. Then she goes, "You were talking to me, and all of a sudden you stopped talking. The color from your face disappeared. You turned white, and you started sliding down the chair." So she had to stop. I don't know if I actually passed out because I think I was conscious, but
right. You don't remember.
Fine, maybe I wasn't. Maybe I wasn't exactly as conscious. I remember all this. And she's like calling, she's telling somebody else to come. And because she's wearing a mask and a shield and everything, the other person can't hear her yell.
Right.
So like, she had to
I'm losing one. I'm losing one. We got a fainter in office 3.
We got a bleeder.
Exactly.
So she presses the button or whatever. So one of the girls comes and are like, "Oh, you okay?" And they got me juice, right? So I sat and I'm drinking juice, and they got me another one because she goes, "Did you drink?" I said, "No, I thought you're not supposed to eat and drink." She goes, No, you're supposed to drink water. So you're supposed to hydrate. You're dehydrated and your blood pressure went down because of this and all that.
And you're probably nervous too. A little nervous.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm super stressed about it. Even though she goes, "I don't understand. You have tattoos everywhere." I'm like, "Yeah, you guys don't understand. This is a completely different experience to get. I'm not concerned with needles. It's the blood that's
coming out.
Body. And it's a long process." So, all right, I started feeling better. Like, okay, good. I guess I can go. She goes, No. I had to stop. I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I have to do it again." So you have to go back and do it again. I don't know how many more vials, but man, that was the worst experience.
That's the worst. I hate giving blood. And I had to, when I had a thyroid situation, I had to give blood like every 2 weeks, or it was horrible. And one time, they always say to me, I always say like, "I'm going to look away. I'm a little bit not a big fan." And the nurse always says, "Are you a fainter? Are you going to faint on me? Are you gonna, like," that's their like biggest fear. So you kind of like relive their biggest, you manifested their biggest fear. But one time this woman, she got the wrong like vein or something, and like blood started like literally spurting out of my arm. It was like a Monty Python skit, and it was like flying everywhere. And I'm like, "Jesus Christ." And she's like, "Oh, I missed it." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Oh boy, you're really spurting." And I'm like, "This is crazy.
We have a bleeder.
We have a bleeder." I was like the Peter North of blood. But anyway, I will never, ever get used to having my blood taken. And I've done it many, many times. I can't believe people
I know people
donate
who
blood.
love that
It's
shit.
impressive.
Like,
people can donate blood and can sit there for 40 minutes.
Yeah. So my ex-wife, she like enjoys it. She goes, "I love the feeling of it." I'm like, that's why we're not married.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should go to a hypnotherapist. I was thinking, you know who does hypnotherapy in LA now? If you ever the Thompson twins, remember the Thompson twins?
Yeah, of course.
So the black guy from the Thompson twins, I don't know his name, but he is a hypnotherapist now in Sherman Oaks. Like sometimes you're driving down the 101 and there's that sign for like Hypnotherapy Institute or something.
That's him.
Yeah, he's there. I might have to go check him out. Yeah.
I'm going to make a note of it.
Make a note of that.
From
Thompson Twins is a hypnotherapist. You can look it up. I've looked it up on Google.
That's what I'm going to Google.
Yeah, I've tried. It comes up, and I've tried to get him like on like a. I tried to interview him, but
all right, we're going to get him on.
But I'm just going to get him as a client.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be his client, and then we can convince him. I don't know. Maybe he can hypnotize us to like blood tests. Anyway, so
that was my. So if anybody, I'm just saying, if anybody has any experience with this or any because I'm gonna have to do this again at some point. I don't know how I'm gonna get my mind to do that. I'm gonna have to like self-motivate. But anybody has tips and tricks for giving blood that worked, just share them with us.
Yeah, I don't even know if the looking away thing is even a good. Like I'm starting to like think that's not even good because you don't know when it's coming, and then you're like, okay, that's more than a bee sting. That's a lot more. I'm really looking forward to my vaccination shot. I mean, I can't stand those things. I mean, I just got a flu shot this year, and it was like it hurt like for like 5 days after my flu shot. My arm was sore, and I felt tired, and but I'm gonna do it. I'm not a no vaccinator, so.
I am. I'm not doing that vaccine.
You're not doing it?
No. I'm going to wait till they have a little bit more of genetic information before I don't like the one size fits all vaccine. Just not for me. and
Okay.
I want to see what happens to all the people that got the vaccine first. Like I'm the guy that doesn't get the first generation iPhone. I wait till the second one comes out
Okay.
to see what the bugs are. So I'm going to check you guys
We'll
out
see.
first. See what
Well,
happens.
you don't even have to wait for me. You can do like, freaking Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. Joe Biden. We'll just ask Joe
got it.
Biden. Yeah.
Yeah. Pence, all those guys got it, but
Yeah.
we'll see. So I want to mention something business-wise really quick and
Mhm.
get your thoughts. There was an announcement of Afria and Tilray merging. Those companies will come together to make the largest cannabis company in the world, I believe. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it was bound to happen, right? I mean, cannabis, like any other industry, there's going to be mergers, and it was happening before COVID at much greater acceleration. There was starting to be a kind of consolidation of the industry, and then COVID happened, and the whole world turned upside down. But I think that, and as we get as we get closer with legalization being a reality, I think it's going to keep happening. I don't even know if it's necessarily a good thing for the industry. I don't like if it shuts out the little guys.
Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. I mean,
that worries me.
And they're gonna have to have monopoly laws in cannabis. Like
there's going to be a Facebook of cannabis, right? I mean, there's somebody a YouTube, a Google of cannabis that's going to come in and just
how can you compete if you think about it this way? It's going to be federal legalization, right? Let's say all of North America. So you have Mexico, you have Canada, and you have the U.S. If you have a Tilray, Afria, or one of those big companies, Curaleaf combined with Select, all these companies come together. How is anybody going to be able to compete with them? They're going to be fully vertically integrated. They have retail, they have cultivation, they have billions of dollars. There's no way you can compete.
I sometimes compare it to like the alcohol industry, the beer industry. Like you have all these huge companies like Coors, right, and Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch, and then you have all these craft beers that people love. And I'm wondering if cannabis will follow a similar model where it's like
that's what people think, but it took years for this craft to come up now because those companies were already huge. So what happened in the beginning when there was consolidation, there wasn't really craft brewery. I mean, there was one. I remember there was Schlitz. There was a small brewery that sort of went out of business, and then there was on the East Coast. You have Yuengling. There was but they got bought up, and Sam Adams. They got bought up by the big guys. So
the big guys buy the little ones.
Yeah,
and it's the same with like the sports drinks too, like LaCroix. That's a Coca-Cola. That's a Coca-Cola.
They all. It doesn't matter. Everywhere you look, it's like Coke, Pepsi, the big guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, there's no way you can avoid it happening. In some ways, it not being federally legal has been a boon for all these small cannabis companies because you can have these small companies that you start in like Oklahoma or like Massachusetts that don't, that can really thrive. But Afria Tilray, I mean, I'm just curious about the quality of the cannabis after all this, because, the bigger you get, there's not an attention to detail.
That is true. I do have I'm disclosing that as a company, we have a relationship with Afria, and I know that they take great care on the medical side. They really have a tremendous focus there. So I can attest for that based on my personal knowledge.
Right.
As far as anybody else, I'm not sure what's going to happen with when they come together. But I'm sure as you get bigger, there's loss of that quality control and all that stuff. So
I mean, I did have the opportunity to interview the CEO of Afria at a cannabis convention. And, his background, he came from, his name is Erwin Simon, and he came from, big health food industry background. These guys are not totally corporate baron robbers. So hopefully they have some sort of morals. But I can see that could be a good thing or a bad thing for the industry. We don't have any, one of the interesting things about cannabis is no like household names in cannabis yet. There's no like, for us there is because we're in the industry. But if you were just like some guy or
Big Mike, what do you mean? Is Big Mike the household name?
Is he a household? Yeah, everybody knows Big Mike. Big Mike.
Come on, Big Mike.
Oh my God, I want to do my expose on Big Mike. Big Mike.
I love that guy, by the way. I know he's
very controversial.
So Big Mike is, if I'm not mistaken, he's Estonian and I'm Lithuanian. So we connected through our Baltic roots. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So we have that in common.
I should probably. I'm Russian. Does that give me anything? I don't know.
Well,
He's
yeah.
like he's like first generation, right? I mean, I don't even think he's like from there.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if he was born there. Maybe
He has like an
I was,
accent and everything. Yeah.
yeah, I was born in Lithuania, so I'm
Right. And he has an impossible to pronounce last name. So that's why everybody just calls him Big Mike,
Big
because
Mike.
nobody can pronounce his last name.
That's right.
Sometimes
So
it's confused with Killer Mike. Go ahead.
You challenged me, or you didn't challenge me, but you asked about have I seen the Bee Gees documentary, and I
On HBO
did
Max.
watch it on HBO Max. By the way, I have to say, I mean, I love the Bee Gees, but sometimes you think they're cheesy and
Right.
disco music and all that stuff. What an incredible story!
I know.
And not only the story, like the relationship between the brothers and the tragedy they had to go through and to overcome so many obstacles. And it was such an inspiring thing to see, like something. There was a big obstacle, not to give away everything, but you can give your opinion on that. But every single time they had an obstacle, they did something to be able to overcome that and to change and to morph into something else. I mean, just incredible.
They were like the original pivoters. Like, Silicon Valley's always talking about pivoting. Like they were so good at once their career hit an impasse, they would pivot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just commercial. Like it was just for their art. I didn't really know much about them pre-disco. So that was really interesting to me to that they were like, right up there with like, the Beatles. I mean, they were very popular in the late 60s.
They were huge. They recorded in Abbey Road, and they were anointed. They're going to be the new Beatles. The Bee Gees.
Right. They were like
their harmonies were incredible.
They were and they just and then just like the fact that like when they were up in that, and I won't give away too much, but like when they're up in that French, chalet or wherever it was, and somebody said, oh, there's this movie called Saturday Night Fever coming out. Can you write a few songs? And they just like in like 3 days they pump out like the entire soundtrack to Saturday Night Fever, which is like one of the great. It's all hits. Like literally every single song was a major #1 hit, and just like in 5 days. Like what kind of creativity? Like at that, they were just so in a zone at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine.
It's that flow. It's like
they were in a flow.
Before, when you're in flow, and the way that they write is like it's on the fly. It's very, very difficult to say, let's come in a room and let's just write songs together. And they're able to do that.
And they make a very interesting point that only brothers could really do what they did, because they just knew each other so well, and the way their voices sunk, because they were brothers, was like you could never replicate that. I thought that was really cool. I thought one of the tragedy, and we should play the theme song, tragedy, dun, 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 was the whole disco sucks movement. And I had heard, I remember the disco sucks movement.
Yeah, I remember that guy blowing up the record.
Yeah, and I remembered all that. It never really made, I always kind of, I sort of was like, I think kind of neutral about disco. I actually like it much more now, but probably that I did when I was younger. But it really was like, it was almost like a MAGA rally. Like if you looking back, like how racist it was and how
super
homophobic it was.
Exactly that. That is, you just hit the nail on the head. I was just going to say, because the disco movement, like all these amazing DJs, Larry Levin, all these guys that are coming out and that morphed into house music. And that was a big dance music scene, like Studio 54 and Palladium and all these. But it was a true movement of, as you just said, racist and homophobic. And that's the main reason why disco became this big thing. Oh, let's just do, it's rock music and all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with dance music. It was fun.
And it's sad because the Bee Gees survived it, which is incredible, but a lot of groups didn't survive that and were very talented. So it was just, I don't know if that would ever happen again. I mean, I feel like pop music has been has had a dance vibe for like the last 10 to 15 years. And it hasn't really been overrun. I mean, I keep waiting for rock to push it off its pedestal, but no, there's always going to be Ariana Grande and all those artists. And but it's hard. It's almost inconceivable that pop music at that time, that you could just have like, it could be so hot at 1 minute and then just be like an anathema, and like nobody wants to go near it, to the point where they couldn't even get jobs anymore.
And I think it happened briefly to like hair bands. During when like Nirvana and grunge hit, So
Yeah.
like the Motley Crues and all that stuff, but it wasn't as profound a hatred for a
Yeah.
music. It was
It was
just
just
like
like a switch in taste. Yeah.
progression. Okay,
Yeah.
like we progressed. That music seemed a little cheesy. We progressed to something else, but a lot of those bands came back. But disco music, I'm not sure if I mean they say remixes. They still play that stuff in clubs, but I'm not sure if that ever returned. Maybe
No.
Nile Rodgers still has a little. If you hear his production, you still get a little bit of taste of that disco sound in his.
Well, a lot of the disco sound is back now. Like I feel like The Weeknd does it, and Bruno Mars, and they all borrow from Michael Jackson and all that stuff. But yeah, it just as a kind of pop music thing, it just died in 1979 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm sad about that. It should have been allowed to live. It did actually live. It just wasn't mainstream anymore. Because I mean, let's face it, dance music has never gone away. Like you said, it became house music. Yeah.
And EDM. What shirt are you wearing today?
Today I'm wearing my Sugar Hill Records shirt, which is, we were talking a lot about old school, which as we normally do. And so I'm happy that this came up. The Sugar Hill Gang, the first, even though it's not cool to say, definitely the first rap I ever heard, Rapper's Delight. And, Sugar Hill Records, kind of a complicated story of a record label that put out a lot of great records in the early days of music, but they also exploited a lot of their artists. And I've heard some bad things. I did an interview recently with the first Latin rapper that was on Sugar Hill Records, and he said they never paid them fairly. And the day they went on the radio one day, even though they had a hit song, and somebody in the band said something bad about the label, and that they never ever recorded another record again, and basically all went homeless after that. So
I've never heard that happening in the music industry before.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Yeah, exactly.
The label took advantage of the artist.
Yeah, that's shocking. Yep. And Sylvia Robinson. But anyway, without Sugar Hill Records, it wouldn't be rap music. So it was a very important label. So I'll give big ups to Sugar Hill.
Yeah, I'm wearing it's an Alice in Chains. It's called the Psychedelic Rooster.
Dean the Rooster.
That's exactly it. And the reason why I'm wearing my Alice in Chains Psychedelic Rooster shirt is because we want to do a segment today called Gone Too Soon. And we're focusing on music because there's a lot of different artists and writers and all that stuff and actors, but we're focusing on music. Yeah. So I'll tell you, I really struggled with this list. And I'll tell you why. Because the criteria was kind of interesting. Like we talked about, is there an age criteria? Mm-hmm. And we talked about, all right, under 30, maybe. But then I thought to myself, well, maybe that's not my criteria of Gone Too Soon, because maybe my criteria is, who are the musicians that made the biggest impact on my life that still had a long possible impact to make? But I had to cut it off somewhere, because so examples of that would be Prince. So Prince was 53, I want to say, when he passed.
Right.
I have it written down. 53. So was he super, super young?
Was he past his prime? Was he? Yeah. And you never know.
You don't know. And was he a super impactful guy? And is he obviously Gone Too Soon? Yeah. What about David Bowie? I mean, David Bowie was 69.
Did
he have more music in him? He made, I think that Black Star album may have been his greatest, if not one of his greatest albums ever. And he just made it right before he died, So that was sort of, I was trying to struggle with that. So my list, I have a long list, but we decided we're going to pick our top 10. But
okay.
I just want to kind of give the reason why I chose.
I agree with all yours. So my list is your list for the most part. I might add a few.
Okay. So do you want to go with your list first? And
no, you go. I want you to say it. And of course I'm going to agree with everything you say, because you're picking up some of the great artists. I think your criteria is very interesting in terms of like, where were they in their career? Did they have? Well,
I struggled because I'll tell you why. Because Otis Redding was 26 years old when he died.
Crazy.
Could he have? I mean, one of the greatest ever. Could he have been more? Apparently, yeah. Did he make an impact on my life the same way that Biggie made an impact on my life? I can't say that.
Right.
No, I would say no. So he's not. And same thing like Dwayne Allman. I don't know if you know, but he's like the guitar Virtuoso, Allman Brothers.
The Allman Brothers, yeah.
Amazing. Could he have gotten more? 24 years old. I mean, there was so much more. Randy Rhoads and Kurt Cobain, even the 27 Club. Could he have? Yes, there was a lot more, but he didn't make my top 10. So I just want to preface that. All right. So my top 10 are Jimi Hendrix.
Who's that? Okay, go on. Keep going.
Guitar guy. He's not bad.
Yeah, he's pretty good at guitar.
He was pretty good. So in same thing, criteria is a huge impact on me personally with the music and my thought process. There was a lot more juice left in that to squeeze.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's such a prodigy. And then just the idea that, what would he have done like when the music would have changed? So like when the 70s came along and like we're talking about disco and funk and soul, like he would have adapted and he would have started putting out like, and then what would he have done in the 80s when new wave, it just would have been so interesting to see what Jimi Hendrix would have done.
So interesting. And that's why, and I saw the progression of that. All right. So we have Biggie, 24 years old. I mean, to be able, I was just watching some of his freestyle stuff. You think about it, man. 24 years old. The guy was
so young
and so talented. And you had Tupac at 25, but Tupac was so prolific. He had so much music out that you can hear so much of it. Biggie didn't. Like
Biggie, a lot of people don't really realize because Biggie came out like mid 90s that hip hop was getting a little bit corny. Like it was going through like a little bit of a getting stale phase. And then all of a sudden Biggie came out and it was like fresh again and felt real. And so he was so innovative and he really reinvented the way rhymes were spit to use this.
It's the cadence. It's the
cadence and his rhythm. It would have been interesting to see because a lot of rappers, their shelf life is short. I mean, we've talked about like Snoop Dogg and Jay-Z have managed to kind of stay relevant incredibly, but it would have been interesting to see how Biggie would have evolved. But still, God, I mean, he definitely had like three more albums in him before, 24 is insane.
For sure.
Agree with you.
Then I have Amy Winehouse. To me, extremely innovative. Well, I'm not going to talk about each one of them. It'll take too long, but Amy Winehouse. Then I have Lane Staley of Alice in Chains. And the reason why I bring Lane in, first, I'm a huge Alice in Chains fan. Second of all, if people don't know, Lane had a side project called Mad Season. And I recommend that everybody listens to Mad Season. You can hear the progression of where Lane was going. Super sad music, but so interesting and so connecting that I definitely think that there was a lot more to squeeze. And then I skipped over like guys like not because they're not worthy of like Mac Miller and Scott Weiland and Jay Dilla, but this is where the age thing came in. So Fife Dog. I mean, Fife was 45 when he died, but I really felt that they could have gotten back together, which they did, and had so much more. Like that's my number one. That is my number one rap group of all time. And to not have Fife and to listen to the new album that they made, there was a void that was missing there to have Fife's voice and rhythm. So. And I know you had Jam Master Jay in yours. I'm not going to steal you, but I skipped Jay because of and Guru and stuff. But Adam Yao, MCA, so Beastie Boys, that made a huge impact in my life. And then you had on your list.
It's sad that he died. Adam Yao died at 47. Incredible.
47, yeah. And then I think I have a couple more. I have Bob Marley, who was 36, just because
I'm with you on Bob Marley. I mean, come on. What would he have done with reggae? I mean, 36 is very young.
There was so much more that he could have done. John Bonham, who's the drummer of Led Zeppelin, if everybody doesn't know, that's the reason why Led Zeppelin, who's my favorite, rock group of all time, that's the reason why they broke up and never got back together. So the impact that group could have kept on doing was significant. John Lennon at 40, which is, to me, there was so much more that John could have, given us. And Marvin Gaye was 44. So this is where the age thing comes on.
Marvin Gaye that's just a great, we've talked about that in the last show, but that's just what a loss. Jesus, well, that guy was unbelievable. And he just wouldn't. I mean, a lot of the thing to think about is these guys, not only would they have created their own music, but they would have produced for other people. Like they just would have continued on as like, the voices of their.
Well, yeah. And that's why I left. That's why I left the last two. I have Chris Cornell of
Mhm.
Soundgarden, of Audio Slave fame, because if you listen to the new album that was just put out, by his wife, it's all covers. And I mean, phenomenal album, phenomenal voice, incredible. And Prince. And the reason why I put Prince on that list, not just because of the global impact that he made, but also because of the producing, that ability to lend this amazing ability to play every single instrument and have this voice in his head that was so different from anybody else's. I think he could have kept innovating for another 50 years.
Mhm.
So that's my list.
I think there's nobody, I mean, how can I disagree? They all leave us too soon. The only people that I would even add to your list, I mean, I think of Aaliyah and like Lisa Left Eye Lopez. They just died so young in their careers that, somebody like an Aaliyah, she's beautiful voice. She worked with Timbaland, had incredible production, and really kind of like sounded like a Beyonce, and was kind of a pre-Beyonce.
She was 22.
22. And so I just think it's sad that because she was really like poised to be sort of the premier R&B singer. And, that is a tough business, and she might not have, lasted long, but she was a real talent. And then, TLC kind of died when Lisa Left Eye Lopez died, and TLC had two great songs, and were kind of poised to make many others. So that, and I think all of those artists probably would have broken and become, Lisa Left Eye would have become her own solo artist. So that was a sad one for me. I definitely too young. Ian Curtis, to go back to the 80s, Ian Curtis, who was in Joy Division. I mean, I think he died, he was like 20, he's in his early 20s. I mean, they gave rise, his death gave rise to New Order, one of my favorite 80s bands. But if you listen to his music, it was so ahead of its time that it's just tragic that he went when he did, because he was really like recreating a sound that was so original, and it would have been interesting to see what he would have done in like the mid 80s and the late 80s. And then, I gotta end this with the big ups to my friend Adam Schlesinger. I think we might have talked about him on our show. This is my oldest, dearest friend, Adam, who passed away tragically from COVID in last April. And Adam was, most people know, if they do know Adam at all, they knew him as the lead singer, or not the lead singer, but the lead songwriter on Fountains of Wayne, which already has a bit of a cult following. But Adam was just an incredible songwriter. I mean, he wrote That Thing You Do, and he wrote all the music for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And he was just like the most prolific songwriter you will ever meet. And he could write in any style. And he just had this rare gift of being like a chameleon. So, I mean, I just personally miss him like crazy, but I think the music world will miss him too, because there's not a lot of people like Adam that could write like that. Somebody could say, I need a mid 80s upbeat pop tune, that sounds like Huey Lewis and the News, go. And Adam could replicate it. Or I need a 2019 hip hop jam, and he could just do it. He just was in an unbelievable ability to recreate music and add his own twist to it. So anyway, big ups to Adam. Love you, and think about him every day. And I just want to give him some credit. And
that's beautiful, man. Yeah, we'll try to share this list. There's a lot more on this list, but it's very difficult to pick a top 10. I mean, it was just very, very difficult because there's so many people I love on this list.
It's almost like I feel bad. I'm sure we'll think back and be like, I can't believe I didn't say, right. I mean, there's just
ODB and Guru.
Guru. I mean, these guys are like ODB. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, Avicii. So anyway.
Avicii, great DJ producer.
Yeah.
So what should we do here? So we are
let's do
125 in.
Let's do our Have You Heard?
Okay.
And then we'll talk about that. And I have some thoughts on the music that I'm going to share with you, and then I'll talk about a personal incident that I had. And
all right, so you're cool with being an hour and 25 minutes in.
Yeah,
might be okay, this will be a long one.
It'll be a long one. Let's just share that really quick, and we'll go from there. So
cool. You go first.
I'm gonna share mine. Hopefully, I got it right this time. Okay. Ready?
Yeah. Oh, there you are. Oh, KRS One.
Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. We want black power. 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 That's right. That's what we want. Black power. We don't have to be ashamed of it.
This is not the regular, this is that boom, blah, blah, blah. Some they call it secular, I just call it black, black, black. Marcus Garvey, Bookman, Dottie, bring that army, black, black, black. Malcolm X and Kwame Ture, this is where I'm at. If you wanna talk to me about black, black, black. Haile Selassie the first, Negus Nagas, let's talk about that. Kaboom, Yanni Maroon and all the Maroons, let's talk about that. The real Underground Railroad, the first subway for black, black, black. The freedom train begins with your brain. Get in on track. Whether justice or injustice, how do you react? Can you stand there laughing while they shoot us in the black, black, black? This is what some rappers sound like every time they rap. I'm raising up the red and the green and the black, black, black. Even with no cops in the
That's
hood,
dope.
we still hear click, click,
That is
clack,
dope.
clack, clack.
That's the new. What? Tell us what did we just listen to?
This is let me stop share.
Oh, that's cool. A little echo there.
It's still going.
KRS One doesn't want to stop. Once you get KRS One going.
That is true. Yeah, so it's KRS One. He's got a new album out. That song is called Black, Black, Black. And you know, I'm a huge fan of KRS One, as I know you are. I definitely recommend his new album. It's very interesting. There's a lot of it's a very Black Power kind of album where there's a lot of insight into the current situation, what was going on, what is going on, and
Yeah.
he sheds light on that, and he does it in such a way where it's like it's a very prolific, very, very intelligent way to be able to say that unapologetically, you know. So I really, what do you think of it?
I thought it was dope. I mean, listen, KRS One can kind of do no wrong in my mind. He's very political. He's definitely, you know, he's one of those guys that's definitely matured and, you know, evolved over time. I haven't followed his career as much as I probably should. I was a huge fan of his when I was younger, but I liked it. I thought it's a cool video. Yeah, I think.
Well, we mentioned Scott LaRock briefly of us. So
Yeah.
what I'll just give you so I saw KRS One prior to COVID at the Whiskey in LA on Sunset. And
Oh, wow.
his son DJs, and then his other son is on stage. So you get two sons. His son is his DJ. He took over Scott LaRock.
Oh,
and
that's
he
awesome.
And then he hands out tennis balls that he signs KRS One. That's his
Wow.
thing that he gives to the crowd. So I have 2 KRS One tennis balls. And then the other thing he does, I mean, we may have talked about it before. He brings people up on stage. So he had Be Real was in the audience. He was standing right next to me. He brought him up and he did a thing on, you know, just impromptu rap with Be Real. But then he brings up, because can anybody spit? And he educates the whole thing.
Yeah.
What's an MC versus rapper and all that stuff. Who can spit? And people come up and he gives them the mic. And they're on stage, and then he's like, "Nah, you suck." And here's the next one. It's just an amazing show. He just, yeah.
I love it. Yeah. All right. I love it. I love that you brought KRS One and Scott LaRock to life here. Scott LaRock, for those who don't know, was killed. You know, he must have been in his early 20s. He was KRS One's DJ and producer. They met in the Bronx at I think like a shelter for, like, you know, abused kids or some
Scott
some
LaRock
story.
was 25. I don't mean
25.
Yeah, he's on my list.
Killed by a jealous boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
Some ridiculous story. I don't know what to play you. I'm panicking.
Do you want me to play you one other one? Because I don't know.
No, I got this band. What is this? Hold on a second. Let me just. No, we're not going to do that one. Let's see here. Give me one. I know I've got one, and it's going to be so good. I'm going to play you King Just, because I see it on my screen, and why not?
Don't forget to click the little button when you share.
So we share a screen, and then we go like this, and then we say, you are screen sharing. And how do I share? How do I know that I'm sharing? I got to do it again. Share sound. Okay. So here we go. I'm gonna play this. I found this track one time when I was in Miami, and I was sorry, I gotta find it now. I was just looking through the crates, and I found this 12-inch record, and I'm gonna play it for you right now because I've never heard anybody else play it. And here we go.
The golf, drunken monk, King Josh, coming through for the Shaolin crew. Black Fish, yo, hit him with an uppercut. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. 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 Hey ya, hey ya, can I get some? The sounds of the warrior's drum on the warpath don't make me laugh, cause you never in your life won't ever see the gods rap. I'm a chief that smoke weed out of peace pipes. Yo, boy, I'm half Indian, show you right. I'm about to choke you with my mic, boy, don't challenge. Sing, I'm a blazing sword, swords. They all cry from the black fist. I got fronts in my mouth, they say battle at your own risk. And she's falling and then get up. I do the lap, why, yes, that's the cut. Huh, right back at you, niggas better run or feel the force of the hell races.
All right. Well, that is called Warrior's Drum. I just realized it's probably the most unpolitically correct thing that I've ever played. It's called by, but the artist is King Just. What did you think? It sounds like it might.
You're still sharing your screen.
Oh, by the way, it sounds like that it might have
It's a woo. It's a woo.
It was
song,
a woo.
Right? It's got to be.
It sounds like King
fun.
Just must come from a woo, because they said
It
coming
has
from
to
my
be.
Shaolin, but I never heard of King Just before. And
No,
maybe
neither
King
did
Just
I.
was one of the 20 different Wu-Tang members that somehow didn't make it to the top 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember him being on the show. What's the one that used to come on in New York? Bambino, and Slim. What was it? What was the name
So
of that
King
show?
Just is the lost Wu-Tang brother.
Yeah, he's doing.
That,
But it definitely has that Wu-Tang sound.
yeah, I didn't.
So I like it.
Yeah, it had
Yeah,
like
some
the
best-
flow is just like, oh God, it's so good.
I love that sound.
Good,
So
good.
yeah, and I
King
like
Just.
it, man. That's
Cool.
King
King
man.
Just,
Yeah,
Warrior's Drum.
check it out.
And they don't play it at the Cleveland Indian or the Cleveland Indian or Washington Redskins games.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
No name
Of the
teams.
teams. Yeah. But it's a good one.
All right. So I have a little bit more of a serious situation, and I have to probably ask your advice and then ask advice of our audience. I had a situation where I wasn't personally involved in the situation, and but I'm indirectly. So I have I don't want to expose anybody, but maybe people will know who. But here's the situation. I'm kind of stumbling because I'm going to share something that's personal and see how people feel. So I have a friend of mine who happens to be Black, a very, very close friend. And there was a situation where this person and another one of my friends were going somewhere, and they were having a casual conversation. Casual conversation turned into something to do with marketing in cannabis. And the person mentioned, my friend mentioned to my other friend that Jewish people are cheap with marketing. And she's like, and then this person continued to say that, and say cheap Jew several times. And my other friend asked this person, do you really feel like that? And by the way, my other friend is Jewish and I'm Jewish as well. And this is somebody who's a really close circle. So not only have I displayed generosity over time that I've never heard that before from somebody specifically geared towards me. So I'm assuming that I don't fall into that stereotype. And she proceeded to ask her, and the person said that I don't want to give you my opinion because you're Jewish. So I'm not going to tell you how I really feel, which basically is an answer. So I'm not sure how qualified, you and I are both Jewish, so we don't have another perspective of this. But I was just like, I was sat back and I thought to myself, and I had a conversation with this person. I'm going to continue having a conversation. I'm offended. Yes, I'm offended, not because somebody's anti-Semitic and says something, or not even if they are, but have this belief. I'm offended because it's somebody that's in my close circle who I have a hard time trusting people anyway, who I trusted, took down my walls, had intimate conversations about race, about all these things. And I'm learning. So I want to learn from the other person. So I don't have these preconceived notions, which I normally don't, but I always look at this as an opportunity to learn. So I heard this all my life. And one of the reasons why, I think, because I don't look stereotypically Jewish. So I get to participate in a lot of, you know what I mean? It's like,
of course,
Borat already told us what it means, the horns,
right,
and the nose and all that other stuff. And, when people throw money at me, I don't turn into a cockroach and all that. But the point that I'm trying to make is I'm hurt by the situation because it's somebody that's in my circle at such an intimate way that, it really hurt me in a way. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. And like I said, I heard this a lot of times. I was at a party where people were talking, or a get together, or whatever. People were talking towards the end of the night. They're saying, don't be a cheap Jew. Don't be Jewy.
My whole life.
You're being a Jew and all that stuff. Well, I mean, so we just played KRS-One, Black, Black, Black. It's about empowerment. It's about, it's okay. Don't be, it's about Black power. It's not about you're less than. It's about we are lifting ourselves up. Nobody's going to point a finger and say, well, most people that I know aren't going to say, don't say that. It's wrong. It's about you're putting down others by propping yourself up. And I feel that this is exactly the situation. You're propping yourself up by putting down another, race and nation and of people. Besides, the religious aspect of it, it's a nationality of people that you're painting with a broad brush. So I'm trying to figure out how to deal with the situation. I'm not sure if I'm looking for a solution. I just I'm going to use this I took some time. I'm going to use this as an education moment. I'm going to educate even the notion of why Jews and money, why that even started. And I'm a history person, so I love history. So I don't know if people realize the reason why this whole thing started in the first place about Jews is because Jews were, first of all, enslaved. Second of all, in Europe, when they were freed, they were not allowed to own land. So nowhere in all the world, Jews cannot own land. Right. Very similar to, what happened in the United States. So what Jews did was the Jewish people ended up saying, we're going to create a business by taking our money, lending it to somebody else, and charging a percentage to use our money. So they started this, system of Shylocks, basically money lenders, because that's all they could do to make money. They weren't allowed to own anything, so they owned that, and they became good at it. So they started opening. We were financed by other people, opened banks, and then we know about the Rothschilds who kept it all in the family, and it definitely got interesting at some point. But that's the reason why the people started using the stereotype of Jews with money. They control money and all that stuff, and that's the reason why. And I never understood where this whole cheap association with a Jewish person, what the connection of this is. Who doesn't want a good deal? I don't know if anybody says, oh, no, I'd rather pay more. No, everybody, it doesn't matter what. So I never got that. So I don't know. I just kind of unloaded a lot of things, and it's pretty deep subject matter, but I just want to get it off my chest because it was really hurtful for me. Not that I heard it elsewhere, because I've heard it all my life, but somebody who's really, really close in my circle believes that.
Yeah.
It's a painful thing.
You know, prejudice is prejudice, and you know, these stereotypes are, you know, there's always a slight bit of truth in every stereotype, but they're still stereotypes and not generally true. I think you should just have an honest conversation with your friend and just say, you know, bum me out, you know, maybe give him a little bit of the, you know, that might be his experience with a few Jews or whatever, but that you can't paint such a broad stroke about the entire, you know, I mean, you could sort of flip it and say, imagine if I, you know, you said he was black, right? You know, imagine if I had, you know, used a stereotype about blacks and then, you know, painted that, you know, I would be like crucified literally, you know, for saying something like that. So,
well,
you know,
actually, I don't mean to interrupt, but this person used back to me, said, well, it was like, you open it up as a joke to me. Like, I can joke with you about these things. It's like, what if I said, you know, blacks are dumb or something like that? We could joke
Right.
about that. And I said to this person, I said, first of all, I don't believe that to be the case. I've never even heard that to be a stereotype. I don't believe anybody that you say is this. It's like that guy, John, or that guy, Tom, or that girl, Sally. I can have my opinion about a person, and whatever they happen to be is whether, but I've never had an opinion about a group of people. It doesn't make any sense to me. So that was what the example was used back to me. So I don't.
They said that. Well, you think that? Don't you think that that you believe this stereotype? Like he said,
kind of, yeah. And it would be joking about it, and we can joke about it.
It's tough to joke. I always think of that Seinfeld episode where Bryan Cranston is the dentist and he becomes Jewish just so he can tell Jewish jokes. He converts. He converts to Judaism. You know, it's just like, you know, how black people can use the N-word, but nobody else can. And, you know, and I get that. That's like loaded with history. But I mean, let's face it, any kind of stereotyping and prejudice is wrong, no matter where it's coming from. And you're definitely in the right place here. And it's sort of how you want to approach it with him. But, you know, it is a bummer when you hear, you know, those kind of like generalities be tossed out. But of course, I find myself doing it too with other people. And I kind of try to watch myself, like, don't, you know, fall. Even as a Jew, I sometimes will have a stereotype about Hasidic Jews or Orthodox Jews. Like, you know,
that's all true.
Because that's all true, right? And I'm allowed to think that because I'm freaking Jewish, and it makes me mad they don't wear masks. But, you know,
well, you saw the movie on Unorthodox or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I mean, that is really how they live. So it's not, you know, it's really true.
Yeah. So, you know, there's extremes in every culture, and maybe there are some cheap Jews out there. Exactly. But, you know, generally speaking, it's all bullshit, and everybody's different. So, yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sure that a lot of my friends probably harbor these ridiculous, and a lot of it to me always just comes out of like ignorance and not really having enough exposure to a different group of people.
Right.
You know, maybe this person knows like 2 Jews and they happen to be cheap, so now they're going to you know, do this broad stroke thing that all Jews are cheap. But I don't know. So, but I'm glad you shared it. I mean, everything is personal, and everything is personal.
That's it. Everything is personal. So I just want to share that with everybody. And if anybody has any tips or any,
here's what I think. I think you should take him out for a drink, but then you should make him pay for
it. Done deal.
Yeah. This is after COVID, of course. All right. Well, is that a wrap?
That is a wrap. Yeah.
Sweet.
It's I'm starting to lose my voice.
Yeah, exactly. But what an episode. You get Danny Hester, you get Gone Too Soon. Yeah. You got a story about racism. All right. Well, it is, as always, Len, it has been a complete pleasure, and thank you for doing the show, and happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays, man. Love everybody. Happy holidays to all. Thank you so much.